I saw some posts on what's it called X, right? About Gina Carano winning the case or coming to a agreed settlement with Disney. So that's, you know, that's pretty cool. And she thanked Elon Musk, right? Because, you know, he thought it was injustice and he had a position to like have the money to bankroll that. And one of the things I've noticed, I think is kind of stupid and silly is when there is that whole idea of people trying to take YouTube specs into the real world. And that's okay. I mean, I guess sometimes that's okay. But people play YouTube lawyers, man. That's the funniest thing to see. Is people thinking they know the law around certain things. I remember watching a comic publisher create a book with the same character name and everything, and character design and everything, thinking that they could win, right? That they knew the law around it better, but then they ended up having to, you know, take an L, but never admit to taking an L, and they just carry on like nothing really ever happened. There's IP laws that protect both creators and publishers that is there for a reason. And a lot of times publishers get very, very, and those who can afford it, right? And that's the thing. Friggin' hell, man. Like, going legal is costly. I remember when when I found out that this logo had been stolen from me, right? This double F that I'd done like way back in 2002, like 23 years ago, and placed it on my clothing label. And then somebody decided to use that on their on a TV show as a superhero character's logo in my country, and I didn't know about it because I was away at film school, and the first thing the copyright law people said, "You have 10 grand," and I went, "No, I don't have 10 grand. I'm just a 9-to-5 friggin' worker. I work from, I basically work from Saturday, Tuesday to Saturday, right? Then I go home and I spend my time writing and working on my indie comics, right? I don't have that sort of money." Well, then he said, "Well, forget it. If you don't have that much money in your pocket, you can't really go up against anybody." And I'm like, "Okay, thanks." So even though all this isn't like that logo now is part of a legal contract and everything. If anybody ever tries to go after us with, say, "Oh, that logo is ours," I'm like, "No, it's not. I've got every single place, clothing item that I put it on. That's been, not only that I have all the drawings in a file, right, that showcases how I started my double F logo, which is what I call it, right? This thing here, right? So, and that's always been that way, and it's never changed since the moment I thought this is the way it should be. I never changed it. Because it took me freaking like three months maybe to come up with that. From the moment I decided to do an app, right? And so yeah, and this is the thing about like creating something, right? It takes a lot of time, because when you have it out there, you want it to be important, you want it to be recognized, right? You want it to people be able to see it and go, oh, okay, so that's that, okay. And that's why the Nike swoosh, right? They don't even have to call it Nike anymore. They don't even have to have that Nike there anymore, because you just know the swoosh, right? The tech, whatever you call it, but they call it swoosh, right? And that's all about branding. And this is what I like always say, like if you have a logo, if you have a title for your comic, spend a lot of time designing it. Or get someone else to do it. Or come up with it. Pay someone, right? Logo design is so important, man. That because it's all about recognition. Why do you think that after, I guess, 80 years, that they still have the same Superman logo? Right? That icon, Wonder Woman. Because once they hit the right one, once it became recognized, they kept with it. And the reason I'm bringing that up, Pokemon is now chasing up, and this is to do with art, fan art. Right? If you make money, they've got legal, I guess they've got legal things on their website that says that if you make money of commissioned work using a derivative of Pokemon characters and art, and they you basically give permission to Nintendo to use that forever, over and over. And this is why I always say, like, I'm very precious about my work. You know, that I don't just go around like parroting other people's work and stuff, right? Even like I said that Templeton was inspired by Constantine. It's not Constantine. It never will be. I rewrote the right character. I rewrote the origin. I changed everything, like 100% down, to a point that you don't even know it's Constantine. I actually started from being inspired by Constantine. Even what the character is about doesn't even, have anything to do with Constantine. Because I was like, yeah, I don't think I ever wanted to write for the mainstream, because they'll just take whatever you write and then they'll do whatever they want with it, right? And so, well, why would I want to go in that direction rather than have my own control, own trademark? I was trying to say, I was like, what kind of, get around. That's what I say, I forgot real estate. And that's the thing, I think a lot of people waste all their time doing fan art and trying to sell that, rather than doing their own art and owning it, their own characters, and selling that. I can understand, and I do understand it, right, perfectly, the doing fan art to draw people to your, to your work. Okay, so that needs to be lighter because it's very dark and it basically disappears in that. So let's go with a metal knife. Yeah, and then the render I can make it a bit lighter. Let's give this a bit dark. Well, let's get the yeah, I think she made it darker. separation of play. Yeah, and so, the fact that Nintendo, and Disney does the same thing, right? Like, you can't paint Spider-Man or Disney characters on a wall anywhere in the world, because they'll come for it. So that's why I always wonder, why do people do parody work when there's such and I know even in America you can you can get away with it, but if it's there's only a certain amount of stuff you can get away with when it comes to parody, and a lot of time that's only because a lot of rights holders, right, have invested sometimes millions of dollars in protecting that IP, and then what they've built up, what they've spent, right? And then suddenly somebody comes out and does a ripoff of that, and they think, well, that's okay. Yeah, we can do that. We can take all that hard work that somebody else has done and sell, fake Lego, right?